Hi, I'm Michelle the Irritable Vegan. I'm here to share my vegan low FODMAP story and hopefully take some of the BS out of IBS. Now today we're going to start something different. For a while now I've been wanting to add a frequently asked questions playlist into the channel. This is going to be somewhere that we can tackle questions, issues or comments that I keep seeing again and again regarding a low FODMAP diet. If you'd like any of your questions answered in any future videos, then please add the hashtag FODMAPFAQ to your questions when you pop them in the comments box below. Now ideally, these are going to be things that can be tackled in less than 5 minutes and are going to be of most benefit to the wider FODMAP family. As I'm not a dietitian, I'm hoping that we can keep these questions along the lines of recipes, food swaps, low FODMAP foods, and even down to my own personal experience of a low FODMAP diet. I won't be discussing any personal health concerns or issues or questions that you should be otherwise aiming at your dietitian or health professional. I hope all that makes sense. So without further ado, let's get into today's question. So this question has been inspired by a comment I received from a concerned viewer last week. And the comment was, I thought the low FODMAP diet was a temporary diet given how restrictive it is until the root cause for IBS is identified. But it seems like you've been doing this for a very long time. So I did personally reply to that comment, as I do to most of the comments I receive, as many as possible. But I thought it would make a really good topic for a video to discuss with all of you so that maybe more people can benefit from the answer. So the question I'm really going to answer is, after 2 years, do I still eat a low FODMAP diet? And the answer to this is no, and also yes. So firstly, let's address the no. So I'm no longer in the restrictive elimination phase of the diet where I'm methodically weighing, measuring and limiting my portion sizes or avoiding all of the foods on the high FODMAP foods list. Likewise, I'm no longer in the challenge phase where I'm reintroducing foods in a really strict, regimental way and then recording my results. But the reason the answer also includes a yes is because I consider myself to still be in the personalised phase of a low FODMAP diet. So this means that based on everything I've learned during the first 2 phases, I'm now eating in the most inclusive, healthy way possible for me, whilst also keeping my symptoms to a minimum. So how this looks for me is that I've successfully managed to introduce all foods from the vegan FODMAP categories, just not in the portion sizes or at the frequency that I may have eaten them in the past. I naturally tend to limit myself to no more than 2 portions of fruit a day, and I generally don't eat more than 1 portion per sitting. And this is just something that seems to sit right with me. When I'm not creating recipes for the channel, I eyeball all of my portion sizes and regularly eat and enjoy high FODMAP foods. I naturally tend to eat lower FODMAP foods for breakfast and lunch on most days, and these are just the portion sizes and the food choices, probably very close to what I would normally have eaten before I began the diet. Then in the evenings I tend to eat much more high FODMAP foods at higher quantities, the types of meals that me and my husband have always enjoyed together. I do still sometimes overdo it and end up experiencing symptoms, and that can happen either unintentionally or after I've weighed up the pros and cons and decided that I'll deal with the consequences later. However, when I do find myself experiencing symptoms these days, I feel like I'm much better equipped to deal with them. I can limit the severity of them much easier than I ever could have in the past and move on from it much quicker. And one of the simplest ways I know how to do this is to go back to eating a strict low FODMAP diet for 1 or 2 days until I return to my baseline symptoms. The majority of the recipes that I cook and show on this channel have been purposely created to be suitable for the elimination phase of the diet, and that's so that I can be of the most help to the most people. They don't necessarily reflect the portion sizes or the full range of ingredients that I'm now able to personally enjoy. And they probably only equate to 1 to 2 meals at most per week in what is now a very varied and balanced diet. And I do think it can be quite confusing when we hear people say that the low FODMAP diet is only for the short term. Now, whilst this is absolutely true of the first 2 restrictive phases, the personalised phase, when done correctly, is going to become a long-term personal eating style for most people. And if you think about it logically, there'd be absolutely no point in completing the first 2 phases of the diet if we weren't planning on implementing the things that we'd learned moving forward. And as we all know, a low FODMAP diet is not a cure for IBS. So for most people, it's not going to be a quick fix. And it goes without saying that the safest way to do all this and come up with your own personalised long-term eating plan is under the guidance of a FODMAP trained registered dietitian. So I hope that's answered any questions or concerns that you might have had over the length of time that I've personally been eating a low FODMAP diet. If this has raised any further questions or there's anything else you'd like to see in future videos, then please leave it in the comments below with the hashtag FODMAPFAQ. I really hope you all have a brilliant week. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll speak to you soon.